Hello, everyone. Conscious Brokers with you again. Me, Karolis, and Mantas.
Hi.
And we are here today with really big topic, but we're gonna go short but powerful about this. So we would call this ego bubble. So basically, we're gonna speak today about why people are hating and how does that really affect their lives in general and how to really overcome it. So Mantas, um, tell us a little bit about haters. What's happening with them? Why there's so hatred inside of them?
Um, well, when person hates, that means it's it's internal mess inside of him. So instead of doing that necessary work to sort himself out and live better life, he choose to hate, and that literally that's never-ending circle, because when you choose hate, to judge, to any negative emotions, you're feeding your ego, and um, you can't function properly, because doesn't matter how much, I mean, how much do you feed your ego is like, oh, you can never like feed him. He will always be starving. So um when person doing something, and like, I mean, when for example I'm doing something, and I see the person, and I pick up the patterns, that like the energy, that bad vibe, that he's like negative in some way, because I can see that person acting out of his ego. Because when person looks at you, he sees something inside of you that he doesn't have yet, because he doesn't work on himself, didn't heal himself, and it's challenging. It challenges his understanding, his reality, his comfort, and his ego. His ego is feels irritated, offended, attacked, because um, his real self are interested in you, because he recognized the healthy patterns, and healthy ego, and it grips person's attention. But because person is not, um, he is having problems, he had traumas that he didn't solve, ego gets in the way. Because um, if he comes to me and will start talk to me, and he is gonna be himself, and we're gonna have genuine conversation, he will start um, taking good information, patterns, and it's like healing process. It's, I mean,
Yeah,
then I'm gonna tell him like, I'll go like read this book, or watch, some lectures, or I'm gonna tell him do this and that, like work on your character. And all this is like threat to their ego, because ego, when you are traumatized, the ego is in control the most of the time. So the the ego have to get in the way. So otherwise the person like will try to interact with me, and get some good information, so he can heal and grow. It doesn't matter, it can be consciously or unconsciously. People don't know, but we always pick up patterns, informations. We watch videos, we read, we picking up information. But when we traumatize, the ego trying to do his best to control the information that you absorb, what you read, the people you interact. And if it's threatening, if it's like if it's genuine, like if it's healthy people with they acting properly, and he has to interact, because it's threatening. It's like um when people how to say,
it happens to me a lot. How to say this?
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you are healing with someone, oh, okay, I can see you now.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that I was writing about this thing today. So the best thing, because people don't, a lot of people, they don't understand what's really happening, because they see the person and they can feel that, something wrong, the energy or vibes, whatever you call, but that's your brain picking up, because your brain stores the patterns. And the more you watch people, the more you're conscious about it, the more you watch people, the more patterns your brains absorbs and takes in and remembers. And then you go into the world and look at the people, the way they look at you, the way they act, the way they speak, the way they interact. You can recognize straight away if
yeah,
person acting out, if he is like trying to get his shit together, is he is trying to out himself, or he is just bringing that, you know and he's acting out of the ego, because his ego is offended. And because when ego is offended, he wants to, he wants to offend you, he wants to do everything to push you away. So your brains won't your authentic being won't come and don't interact, don't pick up the healthy patterns, and won't get better. So that's why people hate, that's why people judge, that's why all the negativity, because they don't even understand. And that's the thing, they can't even control. They're not doing it consciously.
yeah.
The ego is in control. The ego is easy way. They lose control, and the ego doing whatever he wants, whatever he can tell, like, bad word. They can even try to hurt, when, like, when people get drunk in the clubs and shit, it's egos in there. It's like,
Yeah,
egos fighting
definitely.
each other. It's all the conflicts. And that's the thing. If you are conscious, if you're trying to heal, you must always watch people and recognize patterns, and to try to see what's happening and to avoid these conflicts. Because if you go into the conflict with the person who is acting out of his ego, you're just gonna feed his ego. You can't find solution with him. You can never you never found solution, because you coming from your authentic self, and he's in conflict, fighting himself and the ego, and ego gets in control. And
Unless
you
unless you give what so basically when a human is showing up the patterns of the chaos and you get involved in that, there is a way to resolve that. So you're basically delivering one way solution. um, so basically you are not feeding his ego, but you are giving him what his trauma needs to heal at certain point.
yeah, but
So like my coach told me a story when the aggressive male was like trying to interact with the group, and she interrupted that aggressive behavior with compassion and love, and he stepped back. Because I really noticed that this thing in my life, when someone is with a cultural programming and like inflated ego,
traumas, yeah.
they kind of, like you said, they feel your good patterns, they feel your good energy, and when they are close to you, your voice tone, the way your body speaks, the way your body looks, it's all different, and when you stand in front of aggressive person and you are calm inside, like you can look calm, but if you in panic or whatever, he
Yeah, yeah,
feels
yeah,
this.
yeah. It shows
And
everything. Yeah,
yeah,
can't
so
hide it.
so basically the action, what you do, the words you say, if it comes from peace inside, you are settling the situation. Because you kind of have interaction with his, like, let's say, inner child, and this calms him down. So basically,
No,
you avoid the problem.
no, but you know that there is solution. That's the thing. So that's why you have to watch, because you don't just ignore. I mean, like you see that you recognize the person, you see that he's a problem, but and like you can see like the way he looks at you, that he is acting out of your ego, and you are not fully in control. He can bring your ego, and you're gonna start fighting, each other.
Yeah,
But
if
so
there
so
is
so so
no,
so
if there is
so
no proper work done in you, that's the way. Yeah.
so but that's the thing. If you are really, having your shit together, then you have to recognize the problem, and you understand, oh, there is the problem, and you just understand that there is the problem, but you keep doing like whatever you have to do. You don't bring your ego, you don't let to distract and
You
bring
are the
your out ego,
solution.
so you will start fighting. And then if you act like in peace, in harmony, then you don't trigger his ego even more. And then if he's gonna come down, he might come over to you and will try to talk, and have genuine conversation. But that's the thing. You have to don't give it, don't feed you, because he's gonna bring you some bad energy, but you have to keep calm and in peace, and don't feed him. So then he might come down, and then you can interact. That's the only way. Because if you recognize, oh, there's the problem, I know what they're doing, and I'm gonna, like refuse him, or don't interact, or like push him away with my ego. Because then it's not, because you're gonna feed him ego, and then you're gonna feed his ego, and then he's gonna give you back, and this war. So
Yeah.
yeah, we have to see what's happening, and we should be ourselves, and don't let
Um,
bring our ego.
I have a really interesting example of how this kind of situation looks like. So basically, the ego itself is like in an illusion, and when you try to understand this, it's kind of, it can get mixed up with certain things.
Yeah.
So I have a definition, like imagine a human being that is authentic self, is a source, and there is a glass in front of him, like all around him. And this glass is basically that illusion that was created, all the cultural programming, trauma, ego, all the limiting beliefs, all the toxic patterns. And when person starts to heal, this glass starts to crack. And but in regular conditions, when glass starts to crack, it should fall down, but our environment, the materia, ether around us is like liquid, and this glass isn't falling down, it's staying solid. So basically, the human, when you start to heal, when you start to get conscious, you have to grab the glass, you have to crush it, instead of throwing away, because it's coming back to you if you avoid this. And so basically, if someone, like one person is healed and another person is unhealed, so you can imagine the thing that our environment is universe, the god itself, and including us and everything. But this illusional barrier, what is created in us, is something that is keeping us asleep when we could live
No,
our authentic life.
it's like ego. It's like ego like creates illusions, and it separates us.
Yeah,
It
it's
separates.
like a screen, like it
Yeah.
shows you different movie based on the experience, trauma, and all the programming. And when two people meet, and one is with already cracked screen, cracked glass, and he has big holes, there are some work to do always. But you know um there is already gaps, and the universe is going to you. It's filling your void. And when the person is the opposite person is full of glass, and you start knocking his glass, you start cracking his glass, he gets scared, like you are destroying my reality. And that's like you said, you know, they start to protect that because it's the comfort zone of them. And it's really important to understand that every human being has this in this world, because this world is such a place where everyone being affected by and is affected by cultural programming. That's why I mentioned that, you know, you can have big holes in that glass. You have done tremendous work, like we both done tremendous work. I know many people who done tremendous work, but there's always a maya around us, the illusion, and you need to keep working with that glass. You know, the certain parts, the back part, you know, there is also glass there. And it's not hard to, it's not easy to reach that, you know. So basically there is always work in us. And yeah, that's when, if we start to get asleep, like if we start to ignore what's happening in our life, basically what we do, we allow that glass to start getting solid in some way. And we kind of create obstacles for ourselves. And it gives us another challenge, but this is a part of the journey. This is a part of the journey. More glass you cracked, more energy comes to you, more authenticity you receive, and you know, like you are resurrecting as your true self. So this is really important to be aware about the journey itself, and don't get asleep on that, you know, fast the healing stories, because it takes time, it takes practice, and we practice in peace. And then life sending us the chaos, someone with a trauma who is like provocating aggression or a conflict, and you have to show the skills.
Yes. So when you literally when you work on yourself, you kind of over the time you demolishing the illusions that your ego create, your traumas create,
Yeah,
your past
you're
events,
starting to
and
see true view, like
yeah,
a nature, you know, instead of a Hollywood movie.
yeah, because yeah, when ego is in control, you're living in illusion. You know, he creates illusion, he creates situations so he can get what he wants and he can feed out
Yes,
of it. But at that time your authentic self is not there. You're not growing, you're not experiencing, you're not truly experiencing life. You're just in kind of in autopilot mode. You know, just you wake up and your ego is always starving. If we not put if
cravings,
yeah,
desires, all the
it's
things.
always there, and he will always create illusions, put you in certain situations to be negative, to judge, to put other people down, just to feed them. And and that's what's gonna happen. Like all the people gonna refuse to deal with you, or you're gonna end up with people with same broken egos, and you will think that you know you are friends and everything, but there will come situations then where maybe you need, you know, true help, you know, or and then you're gonna see the real colors that people, because people, when the ego is in control, they kind of have two faces.
Yeah,
One is ego face, and one is real person. And sometimes one of them, you know, if ego is not kind of interacted, then the person shows the side of his real self, and like you like take it and you like it, but you get in the like certain situation, and then person gets triggered, his ego gets triggered, and he like shows up and like, wow, like why the hell, you know, he done this or acting that way, because that his traumas, that his ego like showing up, and we can go through life like allowing our ego, you know, to take control, you know, out of us, because we don't control nothing. We don't control nothing. We are not conscious.
Yeah. And basically this is a part of the journey. Some people like, get aware, become aware about the trauma and cultural programming in early age. Some people on their 30s, 40s, 50s, and there is always a plan, bigger plan, behind us and in front of us. So that's why it's super important to enjoy this life, and don't let your ego to create suffering for you, because suffers only ego. Your true self, it cannot experience any suffering if you are truly awake to your true being of divine and universe form. And
There's no suffering.
there's no there's
There's
no such a
there's
thing as
like
suffering. No,
like
this
you
is a
have one
it's a pure illusion.
like you have one life. Why would you spend even a second to suffer? Like that, it doesn't matter you get another life or not, but why would you choose to be like consciously? Why would you choose to be negative to judges? You don't win. You get away with nothing in that situation. You only feed your ego, and that's it. But if you heal, then if you sort yourself out so you can go into the world and be yourself and meet other people like that, and you have good interactions, friendships, relationships, you can truly experience of love, and you can literally live the heaven on earth. But
That's how it is. That's how it
because
is when we
we
live
we
in
are
peace.
already in heaven, we are,
Yeah,
that's heaven. And if we let our ego to get in control, if he creates delusions, he creates suffering, if we need him, so we build our own hell. We already in heaven. We don't need it. Like heaven doesn't exist. We already in it. We have everything what we need to be happy here.
yeah,
We just have to work on ourselves and don't let our past past traumas and egos to get in control and rule us and rule our lives.
yeah. That's really an important part, to be happy and create your heaven here. So yeah, I'm really happy about this topic today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, message me or Mantas anytime, and we are open to speak with you, to share with you our stories, our experience, our expertise. And yeah, today, Conscious Brokers with you again, and see you again.
Take care.